Hello people, my name is Skylar, and today I just wanted to talk to you about my struggles with an eating disorder, anxiety, and depression, and yet the fact that there is hope for anyone dealing with mental health issues. The sole reason I am doing this is because I want you to be hopeful. Everyone has something they are dealing with at some point in their lives. I'll let you know, going through treatment can feel like hell sometimes, but when you get through to the other side and immerse yourself in recovery, things start to feel good again. They can even feel great. Now this can be a very slow process, but I promise that if you work hard, then you can win your battle. Recovery is worth it. I'm going to start by talking about when my disorders developed. Then I will discuss the results of me having them. It is hard for me to open up about these things, so please don't tell me how crappy I am at this. Thank you. So, my depression started to manifest around age 11. It was caused by the fact that for years I have been beaten up and teased by mean kids. From kindergarten to 8th grade, various things have happened. I've been punched, kicked, spat on, and laughed at. The three main descriptors I was usually known by were ugly, fat, and stupid. I felt ashamed of myself, continue to feel ashamed of myself, and feel ashamed of my existence. My anorexia started when I was 12. At first it was just a little. I just wanted to try a new diet, drop a couple pounds, but it spiraled into so much worse. In August of 2014, I was inpatient for the first time at Park Nicollet Melrose Center in St. Louis Park. After I left, I had to go back in, which felt disappointing, but I knew it was for the best. I was outpatient for a while, then I started a partial program there in early February. I struggled a lot and therefore stayed for 7 weeks, but my depression got so bad that I began cutting to the point where I had to be evaluated by a new hospital called Abbott Northwestern. After this, I went home for a while, but I stopped eating, so my parents wanted to try a new treatment center called the CTED. This stands for Center for Treatment of Eating Disorders. It was located in the local children's hospital. CTED helped me a lot with eating, but when I went home, things got rocky again with my depression. On June 4th, 2015, I overdosed on Prozac when no one was home. I remember that day as clearly as if it happened yesterday. It was a terrible choice. In fact, it wasn't really a choice. It was an impulse. Whatever you do, please don't ever think about doing something like that. The pills made me extremely fatigued. Then suddenly, as I got out of bed, I fell down and had a seizure. It was my first seizure, hopefully my last, and when I regained myself I was surrounded by paramedics. I moaned and cried that I didn't want to go to the hospital, and that I was fine. Of course, I ended back up in Children's Hospital. There, I tried to strangle myself, which was quite unsuccessful. My doctor was incredibly concerned, and sent me to Mayo Clinic in Rochester. They had an eating disorder program within their psychiatric unit. Unfortunately, I was locked in seclusion rooms every time I didn't eat 100% of my food, and also if I did what they called a safety violation. But no one told me of this when I made my first attempt at suicide there. I was very surprised when a nurse found me choking myself and took me to a tiny isolation room. It was literally nothing but 4 white walls and a hard floor. The window had black blinds, so you couldn't see anything out in the world. I slept on a blue gym mat, hard like rubber. I was put into this room 6 times during my stay, one time just for accidentally touching a pencil. Nope, I didn't hurt myself with it, just touched it. Also, they put me in a suicide smock. Look it up, it's like putting on a turtle shell. And I wasn't allowed to wear undergarments beneath it either. Anyway, though, I guess the consequences did eventually prevent myself from killing myself. After 40 long days at Mayo, they did not want to keep me anymore. I was sent to UCLA Medical Center in California because they have a psychiatric unit which treats eating disorders, and they were the only place in the country, essentially, that would accept me. The first week there, I didn't eat or drink anything. I just laid in bed and cried for hours, but I got pretty sick of doing this and decided to join the program. The transition was tough, however I grew to like it much better than punishing myself. I even made a couple friends, Hugo, Faye, Karim, and Jenny to name a few. I spent 6 weeks at UCLA and met amazing staff. I had this awesome therapist named Stephanie who stood by me even when I isolated in my room starving myself, and the director of the unit, Dr. Strober, was both hilarious and kind, but I was still depressed as could be when I got home. I didn't know why, but I was. On September 29, 2015, I felt the urge to commit suicide yet again. This time, I tried burning paper in the sauna, producing carbon monoxide so I could fall into what I thought was a peaceful death. But no, it was horrible. My lungs burned like fire, and I was almost blinded by the large amounts of smoke. I ended up in Abbott Northwestern again. There I stayed for a week, and then I came back home. Things went okay for a while, but then anorexia took over. I dropped weight very quickly and went to Children's Hospital again. They recommended the Emily program in St. Paul. I wish I had known about it sooner. They are a fantastic program. Obviously, though, because I wasn't eating, I went back to Children's, then to Emily, then to Fairview Hospital because I wanted to run away, then back to Emily, then to Children's for not eating. A vicious cycle until finally the Emily program would not accept me for a while. I went to a hospital in Fargo, North Dakota called Sanford. They have an incredible center for treatment of eating disorders for both adolescents and adults. It also helps people who are struggling with other mental health issues like depression. For me, though, it didn't feel so incredible at first. I was put on a medication that made me hallucinate, and I got an NG tube probably 3 times during my stay. I ripped out the tube a few times, and they put in what's called a bridle, an extremely painful, uncomfortable magnet-like device that goes behind your nose bone so you can't pull the tube out without ripping your nose out. Fortunately, I did meet wonderful doctors, dietitians, and a spectacular therapist named Erin. There were process groups to get your feeling out, and art groups to create images of what you held deep inside. So on March 14th of this year, I was discharged from Sanford. I went to the Emily program and did the residential for 2 weeks. Now I do a partial program. I have been there about 5 weeks or 6 weeks as of now. I haven't yet reached 100% recovery, but I am getting there. I am better than I have been in years, thank God. My fingers are crossed that you will have a spark of hope to reinforce the fact that you can beat whatever life throws your way. Thank you so much for watching.